Keith Urban's journey in the music business is really a testament to his perseverance, passion, and talent, but it was never a question in Urban's mind that music was the only thing for him. So much so, Keith Urban himself has now joked that without music, he would probably be in jail. As most fans know, Keith Urban had a rough time breaking through into the music industry, and during the time of Urban putting in the work to find his success in the business, Keith Urban battled with addiction using alcohol and cocaine to attempt to cope with the stress of finding that success. Keith Urban has previously spoke on this time in his career and life. In an interview with The Times, Keith Urban told the publication, "My dad was an alcoholic, so I grew up in an alcoholic house, and it took me a long time to believe I was wired the same. I don't talk a lot about it because I love my audience being able to just come and have a great time. I've nothing against drugs or alcohol. Everyone does what they want to do to have a great time. I just realized I'm allergic to it. Someone said, 'You have an allergy? What happens when you drink?' And I said, 'I break out in cuffs.'" In that same interview, Keith Urban also mentioned that during the building of his relationship with his wife, star actress Nicole Kidman, was a big reason in helping him get sober. But now, even though, again, Keith Urban's beginnings in music were an extremely difficult time in his life, he never once thought of quitting and doing something else. Music was always the answer. Keith Urban recently appeared on Criss Talking Junkies podcast, and during the interview, he was asked about what he would be doing with his life if he hadn't gone into music. Keith Urban jokingly responded and said, "I'd be in jail probably." Keith also shared when he suddenly realized what he needed to do to become comfortable with his approach and style with his music, which ultimately gave him an edge on finally breaking through and becoming a star. Keith Urban shared, "I love John Mellencamp, huge Mellencamp fan, and he did a record called Lonesome Jubilee. Prior to that, he had Hurt So Good, more straight rock, and then through Scarecrow, he brings in some fiddles and a few little organic things. Then he does Lonesome Jubilee, and he's got accordion, fiddle, acoustic guitars, but he's got this rock rhythm section still. It was the collision of all these things that prior to going to that concert that night, I'd been like, man, am I country or am I rock? I don't know what I am. What am I supposed to be doing?" I went to that concert. He walked out on stage. The band was phenomenal. And I saw and heard all that fusion, and it was literally like a light went off. I was like, I get it. Don't think about genre or anything. Just pull all the things you love. Your soup, man, your gumbo, and make your gumbo. So again, as tough as it was for Urban to break through into the music industry, not only here in the States, but also in Australia, he managed to still hone in on his craft and style that made him comfortable enough, which allowed him to continue to move forward. And it really pleases me to say that he is truly one of the best musicians in the music industry. Really. I mean, a live Keith Urban show is such an experience. There is no question about it, and I highly recommend that anyone go and see him. And last but not least, there is no question country music is glad to have Keith Urban. As always, guys, thank you all for tuning in here at CountryCast. That will be all for today's video.